Welcome to an ESG update video, as we are going to be looking at what the community has been asking about the game with official feedback and answers from ESG devs themselves. There has been 2 playtest periods so far. They will be hosting a third one with up to, I believe, 200 players now to play against each other. They kept increasing the amount of players to continue to test multiplayer and gameplay. I elected to not partake in it as a playtester, which is for feedback and fixing purposes for when the game launches sometime this year. This is part 1 update. Stay tuned for more updates that I will be continuing on, as there has been a ton of questions, feedback, and answers that will most likely cover on everything that you all have been wondering about. Also, there's been plenty of players that have played the beta and have given out feedback of their experiences so far. I recommend for you all to check them out as well, to get a better insight of their hands-on results. Anyways, let's get right into it. Does the game play like Madden? I honestly can say no. Being good at Madden requires you to understand the meta of the game as well as for the exploits. Being good in ESG requires anticipation, communication, and execution. You can't run the same play over and over again against humans who can simply adapt. The most fun thing about the strategy aspect is knowing what your opponents are going to do before they do, and using it against them. It leads to a lot of trash talk. What's the details on playing running back or linebacker in ESG? In the first 2 playtests, the running backs were a big part of the offense. Most users didn't focus on defensive builds at first, also made themselves smaller to be quicker. Those things all added up to poor tackling stats, and as a result, the running backs were breaking a lot of tackles. A lot of teams had to rely on gang tackling to slow these guys down until they made builds that focused a little more on the defensive side. Will there be backplates in the game? Yes, sir! What does the kicking meter look like? Any close comparison to other games? It's similar to Madden 25, but behaves a little differently. Is the beta primarily for people with a social media presence who can promote the game? Definitely not only for people with a social media presence. The first playtest focused on that because those people helped us get the word out. It also helped because more people heard about it and signed up. So there was a method to it at first. Beyond that first week, it's for anyone. However, if someone plays the closed beta and rocks with our vision and wants to put in a kind word, then we wouldn't mind it. Is there any presentation immersion like team intros, player intros, and so forth? Player intros are full autonomy when it comes to the emotes you want to do. But beyond that, we didn't put a tremendous emphasis on presentation. It's not that we don't feel it's important, but we overhauled focus on gameplay and making sure strategy reigns supreme. As the game generates revenue, we will certainly build on our presentation. But, that's indie studio problems. Also, we feel strongly that a gamer will not play a game beyond 2 weeks if the gameplay is poor, no matter how good it looks. So we didn't want to sacrifice in the gameplay department. With that being said, there's a ton we want to add to gameplay, but it had to hit a certain threshold for us, so it was more important than presentation at a current moment. Day by day, though, we will continue to improve. If I made a Derrick Henry build type, would it break a lot of tackles? Simply yes. You'll break even more if the defense that you're facing against has builds with poor tackling and size. Is there a gameplay feature that's unique to ESG that's not currently in Madden or CFB? 100% yes. Like the way that some attributes work, the depth of our skill moves, the variety of tackles and blocks that's tied to physics, the amount of animations, the way to run routes and play DB. There's a lot! And that doesn't even include the way the game runs and the strategy that tied to it being night and day difference to Madden. That's why it's currently being played test, because how different it is. What does 99 hit power feel like? You might want to ask the guy after he wakes up. Can you level up as a kicker in ESG? 100% yes. Our game dynamic is a little similar to 2K in that sometimes people have a different build that they bring out for 2s, 3s, and 5s. In ESG, I think people will bring out kickers less than 7s, which is 4 vs 4 users, but in the modes that 7 users or 11 users on each team, I think kickers will be a very common thing to bring out because punting and kicking really matters. Yes, that's right. Special team position players finally feel needed for once. For special teams, will the team select one player to be both kicker and punter? The game has an algorithm formula that places the player at a position. With that said, it's important when you make your build that you look to the top right of the player creator to see what your build is. Some people want to make a 400-pound running back with pass blocking, But the chance of you playing the position with that, well, the logic will more likely put you at fullback or as an offensive lineman. What is the hardest position to play in ESG? Quarterback is by far the hardest to play. This is because it comes down to making the right reads, coming up with the right game plan, and also dealing with real humans to lead. The pressure when dealing with all those real teammates becomes a thing that a lot of people don't want to feel. There are different personalities to manage, and most players have never felt that in Madden because they're often used to playing with the AI as teammates. So imagine it's like team play in Madden or CFB. But the thing is, you're unable to switch through different position players to make a play. You're basically playing with other human My Career, created players that are all individually controlled by a user, so you have to depend on others to play their part, role, and position correctly, instead of depending on AI to help. Will there be a weather system? Unfortunately not in the year 1 beta. We're not looking to win any beauty contest with graphics or environment in year 1. We're focused on creating the most strategic and most competitive game ever. So gameplay is the main focus as of now. As more revenue is generated, then yes, we will be adding more beauty and presentation to the game. So in theory, can I fulfill my dream of being a punter, kicker, and fullback as the same player? Of course, we're here to make dreams come true. How crucial are tight ends in this game? Shockingly, they're massively important. Compared to Madden, everyone wants a good running back and just assumes that's what makes a good run game to happen. In ESG, that's not true. Blocking makes up a massive part of why the run game is successful. Having good tight ends is essential because you can't block, then you can't run. It's not just about the build or attributes, it's about the talent and IQ of the individual user playing tight end. How's the builder? Is it similar to 2K? Is there takeovers or X Factor abilities? Is there badges? It's similar to 2K. There's no X Factors or abilities, but the badges will increase the already existing attributes. Is there safeties, nickels in the game too? 100% yes. Game isn't perfect, but have a lot of places where we are excited to grow. With that being said, I don't think people realize what they're in for. This game has a massive skill gap that is based on IQ alone, which is individual user skills. Like if you go out there and shotgun empty and pass every play, then you're going to get popped. If you play an organized team, then they will dismantle you very easily. Also, don't expect to hit a home run play every time by just going deep and try to do it every play. Reason for that is that you're playing against real users and not AI. Users isn't predictable like AI, so you will end up throwing a lot of picks if your QB isn't good as well. So sprinkle the ball around the field and don't just pick the same plays. Again, this isn't Madden or CFB where you can do that type of shit. This is a whole different ball game and user skills will show dominantly. Another big emphasis on this game is that communication is key. You have to let your team know what you're seeing from play to play. Compared to Madden, it's all on you. But in ESG, failure to be on the same page will result in a stalled offense, or so compared to the other team that might be a well-rounded communicative team oriented. So don't expect to go in a match and not talk, because if you do, then you and your team will have a tough time. I mean a very tough time to do anything right. Tips for being a QB. Don't just expect to snap the ball without reading the defense. You're likely going to throw picks sooner or later. This game isn't made for the lazy reads or automatics that you're accustomed with in Madden or CFB. This will be the biggest game changer for those that will continue to think and play like it's Madden or CFB. Like, fellas, y'all really have to get out of that habit once you play ESG. Like, seriously, cover the damn ball. Guys, this is a huge tip about ESG. You'll need to know when to make a move and when to live to fight another play. Remember, tackles can branch into more tackles. So the defense that gang tackles will do better will most likely try to also punch out the ball. This isn't Madden or CFB where it can just keep getting hit stick and never fumble, or use coaching adjustment on conservative and just never fumble without actually pressing the button to cover the ball. Another tip is if you're new to the game and your QB is a rookie, then revert to the run game. It limits turnovers. You can still hit home run plays if all players can block properly. This will open up better for play action plays. But don't expect to run, then come out in an empty pass set. Then everyone will know it's going to be a pass. You guys got to disguise your strategy.